Hello, middle school parents. Welcome to Curriculum Night. This is done a little bit differently, and I miss you all being in my classroom and seeing all your faces. But I'm glad we can have this experience virtually and do this in a new way. So, welcome. I hope you're enjoying being on your couch, maybe in your pajamas, relaxing at home watching this. But if you have any questions after this presentation, feel free to email me and let me know, and I will help you find an answer. So if you don't know me or I haven't met you, my name is Miss Bekermeier and I am your child's math teacher. I'm super excited to be teaching our middle schoolers again this year. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the PowerPoint presentation. I will have an attachment of this PowerPoint, especially if it's a little bit hard to see with the lighting. So feel free to look at the attachment to the email for this PowerPoint presentation. So a few things, please refer to a handout that I would give you in class, but it will also be attached to the email. That's going to have a ton of information about the specific curriculum and topics of math your child will be learning this year. So feel free to take a look at those packets and then let me know again if you have any questions after you watch this video. So a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Miss Bekermeier. When I was in college, completed clinicals in a kindergarten classroom, and then I student taught in 7th grade math. So I knew I always wanted to go to the upper grades. I taught 5th grade here at Trinity for 2 years. I loved 5th grade. It was such a great time. My 8th graders now were actually my second 5th grade class here. But then I felt the Lord calling me to middle school math, so I bumped up when the position opened, and this will be my 5th year at Trinity and my 3rd year teaching middle school math, which is very exciting. Time really flies. I graduated from University of Illinois and received my degree in elementary education with a middle school endorsement, and then I also received endorsements in math, language arts, social studies, science, and dance. My concentration is also in math. This is something new, I'm currently working on getting my master's degree from Olivet Nazarene University. I'm getting a degree in curriculum and instruction, and then also an endorsement in teacher leadership, so I'm super excited about that. I have been doing that now for 16 weeks, so I just completed my 2nd course and will be moving on to my 3rd. I grew up with 2 siblings, come from a family of 6 now. I have an older brother. He's been married for a few years to my sister-in-law, Hannah. And my sister, she's 3 years younger than me. She just got married to her high school sweetheart. She just got married about 2 weeks ago, so that was super exciting for our family. And then my mom actually works here. She's the director of development here at Trinity, and my dad as well. And I am an aunt, which I love being an aunt, to my sweet niece named Emery. She's about a year and a half. And then I will be an aunt of 2 nieces in December. My sister-in-law is pregnant, so I'm super excited to meet my 2nd niece in December. You guys know that I'm a school teacher here, and I'm also a dance teacher. I teach at a studio called Southwest Synergy in Tinley Park once a week in the evening, so I've done that. This is my 5th year there as well. At Trinity, I coach cheer here. I teach ribbon dance. I lead student council and choreograph the school musical, the middle school musical. So I love being involved at Trinity. I love seeing what your students are passionate about and attending things that they love to do. I love to see them in their element outside of the classroom. This is a picture of my family from my sister's wedding. So we have everyone there, my new brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my brother and sister, and my parents, and then my sweet niece. And these are 3 pictures of my niece Emery. Here we're at a lake. This is Easter, and then this is her holding the ultrasound, which is super sweet. Some things about my teaching philosophy. I'm extremely passionate about teaching and watching my students grow academically, socially, and spiritually. It is important to engage my students in their learning and teach specifically to their needs, and because of that, we do pacing classes here in our math department, and so I'll explain that a little more later when we talk about curriculum. I desire to use assessments to see where my students are at and see if we need to go back and teach in a new way. I strive for my students to master content while having fun with learning. One goal I have is to help them grow and develop in their character. Another goal is to encourage them to see Christ in all they do and to be who He's called them to be. And then I believe reflection is important for students and teachers to see how things can be done differently next time. I believe it's super important to reflect on what we've done and see how things can be changed or things that went well, and different ideas like that. I'm going to skip, this is 8th grade Bible. You'll see that in a different video. 8th grade information. So I'm going to jump to curriculum at the end for specific grade levels. So if you are a parent of siblings, you can kind of fast forward this to the end. The end will have different information in it based on their grade level. But homework, tests, and quizzes, my policies run the same throughout middle school. So for homework, students will have homework almost every night except for Fridays. I believe that this is necessary for math as it's important for them to practice. Math is a lot of repetition of steps, and so they need that practice. I don't love to overload them, especially because I know a ton of students have their extracurricular activities, but I do think it's important to practice. A lot of them are able to get a majority done in study hall, which is a great option for them. Math tests come at the end of every chapter, and then I do quizzes or quick quizzes, usually every Friday or every other Friday to kind of test where they're at. Homework and quiz corrections. They may correct any homework assignment, any quiz assignment. Homework assignments are a lot of times graded for completion because I believe that homework is where you practice, where you find your mistakes, and then you're able to perfect it for the quiz or the test. So that's for homework. They can correct homework though if it's graded for an actual grade. They can correct that homework for half credit. Same thing with a quiz. They can correct for half credit. It needs to be completed on a separate sheet of paper for those corrections. Quizzes are always open note as well, so they are able to use their notes on that. Test corrections. Students may only correct a test if it's a 75% or below. So they need to be ready and prepared to take that test, and that's why I have that policy in there. So, but if they have a 75% or below, they'd probably meet with me. We'd look at the test, see what they're not understanding, and then have them correct that test. Late work needs to be turned in the day of or the day after an unprepared is given. So if they receive an unprepared for not having their homework, they need to have that late work in the next day. Points may be deducted if it's not. All graded work is handed back every Tuesday. So especially for my 6th grade parents, this is new. You're probably used to your Friday homework folders or Friday graded work folders in 5th grade. And in middle school, you don't always see those papers come home. So please note, I hand back graded work every Tuesday. So if you would like to see your students' graded work, check their binder, ask them to show it to you. But if something's graded, test, quiz, homework from the week before, they will receive that on Tuesdays. All corrections are due that following Friday. So if graded work is given back on Tuesdays, then the papers I gave back, if the students want to correct any of those papers, they're due back to me on that Friday. And then materials, make sure to be prepared for class. Grading scale for math class, this is kind of how it's weighted in here. Homework and classwork is 30%, quizzes are 30%, tests are 35%, and then big 25s or big 20s, which are kind of just an assessment or practice of everything they've learned. Those are 5%. I'll get back to those in a second. And you can check out Trinity's grading scale as well. In math, I believe so much of math is confidence. So I'm always encouraging your kids to have a positive mindset. Math is a challenge, and it's a challenge for a lot of us. So please also encourage them at home to keep trying, keep practicing, and put forth their best effort. If students need extra help, I am available to help them. It's a little crazy around here sometimes depending on the season, but I want to be available to help them. So in the beginning of the year, while I'm not coaching, I'm available Mondays and Wednesdays from 7:45 till 8:15 in the morning, and then after school from 3:30 until 4 p.m. If they need additional tutoring, we could talk about that, but those are kind of my office hours. I just ask that you send an email to me and let me know your child is coming to work with me so I'm ready and prepared for them. Another great resource to practice would be using Khan Academy. I use Class Dojo for pictures and to post announcements, so I will get you all those codes if you want to be updated on what's going on in the classroom through that. My contact information, you'll have it in your package, you'll have it on this PowerPoint. Email is the best way to reach me. That is fine, my work phone is fine, but please don't use my personal cell phone. Just stick to work phone and email if possible. And I will do my best to respond to you in 24 hours, but if for some reason I don't, feel free to send me a reminder email or like, hey, did you get this? I'm totally okay with that. Sometimes I may miss something. I always have an open door policy, so if you need anything, please feel free to come on in and ask me. I would love to help you out. If you need a conference with me in the beginning of the year, also please let me know. I'd be happy to chat with you. Handouts to make sure that you look through those paperworks. That's going to help you learn and go through everything that I talked about in this presentation plus more. So check those out. And lastly, I will go through curriculum. All right, for 6th grade curriculum, there's a couple different things I want to point out. So first, as I believe I stated it in a previous email, we do have 2 different classes, 6A and 6B. I met with the 5th grade teachers from last year, and that's kind of how they were placed. There is a faster pace and a slower pace. This does not mean they're learning different content. They are all learning the same content, and they're all meeting the state standards. But because of their learning abilities and where we feel is best for their education, they're placed in either a faster pace or a slower pace. And that could possibly change. So if there was a student who needed to move at a slower pace, we can have a conference about that and discuss their level and where they're at. So in 6th grade, we use Envision. It looks similar to your 5th grade Envision book. They can write in these books, which is nice. They can tear them out. I will instruct the days they need to tear out, the days it stays in their book. They have a math binder. We take notes. We practice organization in math class, all that good stuff. They are using a calculator, but not at all times. So I will instruct them when it is necessary to use a calculator, but in 6th grade, we are still basing it off not calculators, especially when we're adding decimals, subtracting decimals, adding fractions, things like that. So in your packet that you received through email, it kind of really goes through the curriculum. So feel free to check that out. We're learning about ratios and proportional relationships, the number system, expressions and equations, some different geometry topics, statistics and probability, and then meeting state standards under that. So feel free to check that out. You can also flip through your student's math book, which is always a great opportunity to see if you remember 6th grade math, right? So yeah, feel free to look through their stuff to see what they will be learning this year. But I'm super excited to teach them 6th grade math. It's going to prep them for pre-algebra, which they'll take in 7th grade, and then algebra 1, which they'll take in 8th grade. So if you have any questions on the math piece of it, as the students are going through the course, feel free to let me know. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. The next couple weeks are kind of review, especially because of COVID from last year. So I'm going to start by reviewing a lot of 5th grade concepts and getting that solid foundation so that we can build on it in the future weeks. So again, if you have any questions, let me know about curriculum. It was super great to be with you, even though I wasn't with you, but I hope this video was helpful. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I would love to talk to you in person too if you want to stop in or schedule a conference. But thank you for making it through this video, and I'm looking forward to teaching your child the next 3 years. Have a great night.